What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks. Today I'm going to be bringing you the team that gave me that final push to Legend. For those of you that don't know or haven't been tuning into my live streams lately, I tanked a lot of points. I reached a season high of like 2979, which you saw in one of my previous YouTube videos back when Ultra League was still rolling around. And then when this 30-second timer came back around, I dropped literally almost 500 points. I was back in the 2500s. And then in just the last 3 days, I was able to gain all of these points back and make that final push for Legend. And the team that really brought me the most success with gaining all these points is going to be the team that I'm featuring in today's video. Longer videos, so if you want to watch a bunch of different matchups and really get some insight on the team, make sure to stick around for the whole thing. But it's Jellicent in the lead, and then Vigoroth on the safe swap, and Alolan Ninetales in the back. This team has really nice coverage for Jellicent's weaknesses, being weak to like Dark and grass type Pokemon. Alolan Ninetales is a really solid response to that. And just one quick note with this team though, it does perform significantly better in the 30-second switch timer meta, and the reason being is because Vigoroth is so quick and spammy, you're able to wiggle out of a lot of hard counter situations if you have 30 seconds on the switch clock. It is a little bit more difficult on the 60-second switch clocks, and I will be showcasing some battles towards the end of this video where I play this same team in the 60-second switch clock so you can see how it will perform. But this team is a lot of fun, and so let's jump right into these battles and watch my push to Legend here. Alright, so you can see my movesets and IVs up on the screen there. I do prefer Hex as the fast move for Jellicent and Bubble Beam as the secondary charge move instead of Ice Beam. This just gives you a little bit of bait potential, and Hex makes for a little bit more consistent of an Azumarill matchup. Vigoroth, standard moveset, and Alolan Ninetales, you have to run Powder Snow with this team because you need that grass coverage, otherwise you're just going to completely get swept by Venusaur. Dazzling Gleam is a really nice nuke as well because you're generating energy fairly quickly with Powder Snow. So let's jump right into these battles here. So Jellicent against Credilli is not good. I'm receiving super effective damage, even though Vigoroth is technically like a decent hard counter to Credilli. I am going to stick to my guns and use Vigoroth as a safe swap here. I'm hard punished by a Drifblim here. This is terrible, but because of the 30-second switch clock, I'm able to get out of there once again. I go back into Jellicent, they come back in with Credilli. And so we're going to continue to try to stall out the clock here, throw some moves. I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball because if this lands, it's going to put it in a health range where I can easily manage it late game. My switch clock is up once again. I catch on my Vigoroth. I know I'm going to be hard punished by that Drifblim once again, but I'm just continuing to try to wiggle myself out of these situations. I have to let Vigoroth go down. They are still switch locked here, but they go for a really nice undercharge on the Icy Wind. So I'm going to be able to switch out of this. I have a Body Slam stored. I switch into my Ninetales. I'm actually going to reveal my third Pokemon here and see what they have in the back. I shield up the Shadow Ball. Out comes the Credilli again. This Weather Ball is going to hit for a lot of damage. I'm wondering if they're going to shield this. They fully let this go. What is in the back? It's a Sableye. And I am down 2 shields. They still have the Drifblim. I need to start chipping away at this Sableye. They don't shield that either. And so now at this point, my opponent is pretty much in a health range where I can just go straight Bubble Beam and Body Slam spam against the Sableye. I get the shield with Bubble Beam. That's really good for me. Out comes the Drifblim again. I'm able to put on more shield pressure with this Bubble Beam. I know it's not going to take it out, but it's going to put it into a range where I can manage it a little bit better. They go for the Shadow Ball. It takes me out. That's fine. I immediately come into Ninetales because I want to be able to farm this thing down. Out comes the Sableye, and I catch the energy onto my Vigoroth. I catch the return. That's huge. Going straight for the Weather Ball spam here. Gonna get this Weather Ball off. It gets shielded, and I have another one. This is gonna take out the Sableye. The Drifblim is low, and I can just Powder Snow it down, and I'm able to come back after being hard countered in the lead and the swap because of the 30-second switch timer. All right, very favorable lead for me. Most Talonflames like to just go straight for the Brave Bird and leave, so I don't force the CMP. I'm fine with just shielding whatever this first move is, but they bring out their own Vigoroth, and this is kind of an awkward Pokemon for me to deal with because Jellicent is a decent response to this, but I can really only chip it with Bubble Beams. So I'm actually going to bring out my Alolan Ninetales here, and I just want to guarantee that I'm always over farming in this matchup a little bit because I knew that the Talonflame was going to come back in. But these Ice Weather Balls are still going to be able to do a lot of chip damage to this Talonflame. I store a Weather Ball and then I switch back into my Jellicent. I'm just going to go for Bubble Beam here. But they were just committed to letting this Talonflame go. So really smart, no shield by them. I easily survived the Brave Bird. Now out comes Meganium. This is not great. I make a huge mistake here. I aggressively swap into my Alolan Ninetales. This is okay, but Alolan Ninetales is my hard counter to Meganium, and they're easily going to be able to get out of here. So they're able to switch out, but I'm able to farm down the Talonflame, which is really good for me. Whatever they bring in, they're going to be switch locked. I know they still have Vigoroth, so they bring it out. I'm going to throw this Weather Ball. I still have a full health Vigoroth. Shields are now down. I'm going to switch into my Vigoroth here. I can survive one Body Slam, and I should be able to comfortably get to a Body Slam before Vigoroth takes me out. They swap in Meganium. I knew that they didn't have a lot of loaded energy, so I overfarmed a little bit more. I need to guarantee that I can get to a Body Slam against this opposing Vigoroth, and I'm able to get there and take this game. The 30-second timer is really crazy with these swaps. Okay, Jellicent into Altaria. This matchup, typically the Altarias are going to be threatened by an Ice Beam. So I build up to Shadow Ball energy and then I throw Bubble Beam. And typically they shield right there. However, when I did my final push to Legend on stream, it's always interesting to see that people no longer take the Bubble Beam bait there. But I'm going to throw Shadow Ball here. The problem here is that there could be a Defense Deoxys in the back, which there is. And so you at some point need to make your Vigoroth swap to try to get the Defense Deoxys on the field and kind of decide how you want to handle that back line. Because people that lead Altaria sometimes are also weak to Jellicent in the back. So preserving it is going to kind of be important. What I should have done is not gotten hit by that Sky Attack with my Jellicent in the opening, because now my Jellicent is just way too low to deal with anything. The Deoxys threw Psycho Boost, and so it dropped its attack. I'm going to bring out my Ninetales. They bring out Altaria. I'm going to shield up a Sky Attack, but they're going to let me farm them down, which is really good for me. What is in the back here? What is in the back? It's a Ferrothorn. This is not that great because it's most likely running Mirror Shot, which is going to hit for double super effective against my Ninetales. We get some lag here, unfortunately, and then this causes me to get hit by this move instead of being able to switch out, which is really annoying, that stutter lag. But I'm going to throw this Weather Ball, and then I stupidly throw back-to-back here and give them a free Bullet Seed. But I switch into my Vigoroth, and I'm just not able to get to that Body Slam. I really needed to commit to farming down this Deoxys to have any shot at winning, but if they had Rock Slide, I was going to lose that anyways. But I needed a Weather Ball stored to take out this Ferrothorn, and I'm just barely not able to get to this Weather Ball. I could have either done one more Powder Snow on the Deoxys or tried to commit to farming it down, but really nice plays by my opponent. Venusaur lead is terrible, so I'm immediately going to go into Vigoroth here. Now I get an extra counter through. This matchup is not as bad for Vigoroth as you might think. You outpace the Venusaur to these moves. Now they either don't have a response to my Vigoroth or they have a better response to my Jellicent in the back. They could have a Sableye in the back, they could have an Umbreon in the back. But I really want to try to fight for switch advantage here. Out comes Melmetal, and I don't I don't have a great response to this other than bringing my Jellicent out here. I really did not want to get hit by a superpower on my Vigoroth. I do still have a lot of loaded energy. Out comes the Venusaur, but this was a stupid play by me because I just gave up my Vigoroth, which is technically my best answer to the Melmetal. If I wanted to make a swap like that, I could have brought out the Ninetales there, or I should have just stayed in with the Jellicent and fully sacked it, because now in the back is a Bastiodon, and this is game over. Good game. I needed to preserve my Vigoroth there for sure. Talonflame in the lead once again. They swap into their Surfetched. I don't really have a great response to a Surfetched. Yes, I double resist the counters, but the charge moves from Surfetched are going to hit for super effective. I'm going to try to get a shield with this Bubble Beam here. Huge fail. Feels bad. And at this point, I know that their switch clock is up. And so I'm going to tank this Leaf Blade, overfarm, and then throw the Bubble Beam. But they reveal Umbreon. They have shown all 3 Pokemon now. So I'm going to debuff it and then bring out Vigoroth. What I'm looking to do here is load up as much stored energy as possible, because if they eventually switch out of this matchup, I want to be able to rip off Body Slams on either the Talonflame, which comes out right here, or their Surfetched. So there's one. I throw 2 counters and then throw the move so I can get 4 turns worth of energy within their 5-turn fast move animation. And I do the same thing here. So I'm getting as much possible energy and damage with my Vigoroth as possible. They switch into the Surfetched. I wanted to catch a move, but I accidentally did a Hex here and overtapped. Would have been nice to get that Bubble Beam off, but that's okay. At this point, they are in farm down range for my Ninetales, so I'm going to Powder Snow it down. Out comes the Talonflame once again. Unfortunately, going to get hit by a move here, but I will shield it up. They still have the Umbreon in the back. I have Vigoroth and Ninetales to handle this. I immediately switch in Vigoroth to get off as much Body Slam damage as possible. And they actually commit their final shield here. And so all I gotta do is get to a Dazzling Gleam on this Umbreon and hope that they don't successfully sack swap. So, and then we get some, it looks like it was mutual lag, but very scary. I'm able to get this Dazzling Gleam off on the Umbreon. I don't want to get hit by any more damage here. And then I'm able to Powder Snow down the Talonflame. Very close game. Good game. Alright, Jellicent into Deoxys. This is favorable for me. Out comes Mandibuzz, and I do have a very solid response to this Mandibuzz. This is still in the 30-second switch clock, so I do want to guarantee that I can get off as much damage onto this Mandibuzz as possible. They shield up the Weather Ball, and then they come in with Abomasnow. And so I have a good response to this with the Vigoroth as well. But they are really chipping away at me. I really need to start shielding up some damage from this stuff. They bring out their Deoxys once again, and I'm able to meet it with this Jellicent. If it's a Thunderbolt, it's definitely worth the shield. Now, my opponent is playing very, very well. They're trying to wiggle themselves out of all these hard counter scenarios. And sometimes when the swaps happen very quickly like this, you make mistakes. I make a huge mistake right here and bring out my Ninetales onto the Abomasnow instead of my Vigoroth. I really meant to go into Vigoroth here. But I thought they were switching the Mandibuzz again, and so now I'm actually in kind of a tough spot. I'm going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam and see if they let this through. They let it through, and that kind of solidifies me the game at that point, because I was going to be able to take out the Mandibuzz there, but good game. Alright, Charm, Alolan, Ninetales in the lead. I'm guessing that there's most likely some sort of a water type in the back, which is not great for my Ninetales, but the fact that I successfully land a Shadow Ball there, I'm going to make my move into Vigoroth. If there is a Defense Deoxys, I need to get it on the field. So there's one water type. They bring out their Azumarill. I'm glad that I have this on the field now. I'm going to be able to do a good amount of chip damage with these Body Slams from Vigoroth. And I switch back into my Jellicent here to catch this energy. But I do want to keep my Jellicent healthy enough to be able to handle this Azumarill. They switch into their Alolan Ninetales to try to catch a big move, but I'm just going to Bubble Beam this thing down, and it's gone. What do they bring out? I'm assuming they have another water type. They bring out a Azumarill again. I'm going to continue throwing Shadow Balls here. I get a shield there, that's fine. I will shield this up. because I really want to guarantee that I can try to get off another Shadow Ball here. They switch into Pelipper. Okay, I'm going to throw a Shadow Ball here. They let it go through. At this point, I just need to get to a Weather Ball on my Ninetales, and I'm able to get there before they even throw a move, so that's really good for me. They're probably building up to a Hurricane. They still have a fairly healthy Azumarill that I have to deal with. They do go for the Hurricane, and then they're able to swap into their Azu. I get some lag here, but it goes into my Vigoroth. Okay, I'm going to throw the Body Slam, and then I'm not able to get to another Body Slam. Azu takes me out. I'm going to bring out the Jellicent here. I really need to get to a move. I should have thrown Bubble Beam right there, but I lost track of the Azumarill's energy. I can't Powder Snow this down, and unfortunately the Pelipper is just too healthy. All I needed to do was throw Bubble Beam there because it would have put them in farm down range. But good game, good game. I unfortunately threw that game there. Alright, Altaria lead once again. Now it's up to you. I've found that a lot of these Altarias end up shielding this first move, but I'm going to go for the Bubble Beam and no shield. Very unfortunate. This puts me pretty far behind, but I'm going to store a Shadow Ball and then swap to Vigoroth. The Altaria is debuffed. The fact that it's throwing energy here is totally fine by me. They're also staying in, and then they bring in G-Fisk. Okay. No point in baiting here. I'm going to go straight for the Bulldoze. This is not one shot, but it does do a lot of damage. And then I'm going to go for the combo play. If G-Fisk is their best response to Vigoroth, then I'm assuming that there's no DD or Medicham in the back. So I'm really hoping that my Alolan Ninetales will have some play against the back line. I am a little bit concerned that it might be a Bastiodon in the back, which is why I'm bringing out my Alolan Ninetales right here. I'm preserving that Vigoroth just in case there is another Steel type in the back. It's actually a Rainy Cast form. Okay. I'm going to store a Dazzling Gleam and then go into Vigoroth here. Now I'm just going straight Body Slam spam here. If they try to farm me down, they're going to get hit by another Body Slam. And that's what they're trying to do. So I throw this Body Slam, they let Altaria go down. I immediately switch out, and I'm going to go for a Weather Ball bait here. I need to land a Dazzling Gleam onto this cast form. They no-shield it! What an amazing no-shield, but I'm going to bait again. I need to get that shield off. Okay, there it goes, and now all I need to do is get to this Dazzling Gleam. They will throw another Weather Ball at me, but I will be able to barely survive it. One Powder Snow away. And then I'm going to be able to get to this Dazzling Gleam and take them out. They called so many of my baits in this game, which really put them ahead, but I was still able to come out on top there at the end. Very good game to my opponent. Jellicent into Snorlax. This is terrible. I'm just going to immediately go into Vigoroth. Oh, actually, this is the one time. This is the one time where I used Alolan Ninetales as my swap here. Because most people that lead Snorlax, it's pretty uncommon that they would have a Steel type in the back because they'd be extremely weak to a counter user. The fact that a Charmer comes out right here, I immediately am thinking that this is Snorlax double Charm, which means that Vigoroth is going to have to do all of the heavy lifting here. So I bring out my Jellicent, no shield. I'm going to farm this all the way down. And nice lag. We're going to get just enough energy to have a Shadow Ball stored, and I immediately swap, and of course it is another Charmer in the back, but they're receiving neutral damage from my counters and Body Slams. So I will shield this up and overfarm just slightly because the lick damage from Snorlax is not going to really be doing that much, and they knew that I was going to overfarm, so they switch out. Nice play by them. I also still have a Shadow Ball stored on my Jellicent if I need it as a nuke against that Alolan Ninetales. But I throw one Body Slam there, overfarm even a little bit more so I can potentially get off a Body Slam on the Ninetales. Down goes the Snorlax, and I'm able to get to this Body Slam on the Alolan Ninetales. Energy management with my Vigoroth was very key there, able to take that game. Good game. A lot of Altaria leads. So this time, I just go straight for the Shadow Ball. Let's see what happens. They let it go. Fine by me. I tried to make a move into Vigoroth there, but I'm totally fine committing an early shield here. I'm going to make the move into Vigoroth right here. Met with a Surfetched. Yikes, this is so bad. Surfetched does win CMP against Vigoroth, and the pacing is the same as Vigoroth. It takes 5 counters to get to the moves, but they don't commit to farming me down. That's really good for me. So I'm just going to let this go. I am going to bring out my Jellicent. This is going to hurt, but I will survive whatever they throw at me, but I will shield that up. Over farming as much as I can. Going to throw this Bubble Beam. And they let that go through, and then they aggressively bring in their Altaria, and I meet it with my Alolan Ninetales. This is going to give me some nice farm on my Alolan Ninetales. Out comes the Azumarill. So I'm going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam here and see what they want to do. They let it go through. That's pretty big for me. I bring out the Jellicent here. I was trying to catch a move, but I failed. They bring out their Surfetched. I knew it had loaded energy, so I couldn't farm it down. I just Bubble Beam this to get rid of it. Now I need to land either a Shadow Ball or a Dazzling Gleam. So my win con here is just going straight for the Shadow Ball. If they shield it, I just go for the Dazzling Gleam. But if they no shield it like that, I'm able to just go straight for the Weather Ball spam here and take it out. Good game. So as you can see, I was able to reach Legend there. 3014 was my rating. There's all the stuff that you get from it. Now I will be showcasing some battles here where like I get my Libre, so I do like 2 more battles on stream. Pelipper lead, pretty decent for me, but typically this is paired sometimes with like a G-Fisk in the back. And so luckily Vigoroth and Ninetales both have like neutral play against if there is a G-Fisk in the back. So I'm just going straight Shadow Ball here. They shield that up. Shields are totally down now, which is a little bit scary. But they overfarmed, and so I'm able to get to another Shadow Ball here. They bring out Meganium, and I make such a huge mistake by aggressively switching out there. Because now I'm not going to be able to get my Alolan Ninetales lined up with this Meganium. The problem is if I stay in there with my Jellicent and allow them to farm me down, then my Alolan Ninetales is no longer a good counter to the Meganium. But they stayed in here the whole time, which means that there's probably a Steel type in the back. Yep, it was a G-Fisk. So if I did stay in there with the Jellicent, they would have farmed me pretty heavily, and I would have had to tank 2 Frenzy Plants on my Alolan Ninetales, which Alolan Ninetales can't really do. So I was trying to catch a move there, but they were very, very smart, and I'm not able to get to a Shadow Ball against this Meganium, and they're at the move here. So nice play by my opponent. They got shields down. There was a G-Fisk in the back the whole time, but unfortunately the farm that they got with Meganium was just too devastating. So Deoxys in the lead. Umbreon safe swap is like a very, very common team. Typically they will have like an Alolan Ninetales in the back, but most of the time it's running Charm. So I bring my Vigoroth onto the Umbreon here, because this is a pretty positive matchup. But they swap their Deoxys and they catch a Body Slam, which is really good for them because now the switch clocks are out of sync. And I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball here. It gets shielded up. If this is a Thunderbolt, it's going to do a lot of damage. It's actually a Rock Slide. So I'm wondering if they're running like Psycho Boost Rock Slide or something. They switch into the Umbreon. There is a case to be made that I should be bringing my Alolan Ninetales onto this Umbreon instead of my Vigoroth, because I just had to shield a foul play there, which feels terrible. And now I'm going to get farmed by this Deoxys once again, which is really not good. I immediately go for this Shadow Ball once again, and they shield again. I'm out of shields. They go for Rock Slide again, so I don't know if they're single moved or what. They catch on Ferrothorn. Not good for me. I go for the Shadow Ball here. If they have Flash Cannon, this is really bad. But if they have Mirror Shot, this is still slightly playable. They farmed up a lot. Deoxys still has some energy. I stupidly over-farm right there. I really should have thrown, because Mirror Shot takes me out, but I'm able to Hex them down. All I need to do is get to this Bubble Beam. But they go for Rock Slide once again. I really don't know if they were single moved or what. But if they had Psycho Boost, double Psycho Boost definitely would have been the play there. And so here's my Pikachu Libre. I know some people ask about it in the comments to show the Libre. There it is. All right, here are some battles I did in the 60-second switch clock. Hard countered in the lead with Sableye. Hard countered in the swap with Medicham. Here's the problem. Vigoroth in a 60-second switch clock meta is more easily hard punished. You can't wiggle your way out of situations like this, because if they bring out a Defense Deoxys or a Medicham, it's such a bad matchup for Vigoroth because they leave this matchup with a lot of stored energy. So yes, even though I'm going to be able to get a nice farm off of this Medicham, it's still going to be able to rip off a lot of energy onto my Jellicent. The Sableye in the lead is very unfortunate. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball here and then swap. Really hoping there's not a Bastiodon in the back. It's actually an Azumarill, which is still slightly playable. Our switch clocks are a little bit out of sync. I'm going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam. It gets shielded. That makes this very bad for me. But if I fail a bait there, it's even worse. I'm gonna build up a lot of energy and go for the Dazzling Gleam again. Please let one of these land. No. Both of my nukes get shielded up there. Feels really, really bad. I bring out the Jellicent here. Out comes the Sableye. They have a lot of loaded energy here. I really just need to get to this Bubble Beam, which I'm able to do. Most likely gonna draw the last shield. They actually let that go. And then they bring out the Azumarill once again, but these play roughs are really going to hurt. I barely survived that. I'm able to get to this Shadow Ball, but they're most likely going to shield it up, and then I don't have enough health to get to the Dazzling Gleam, unfortunately. So very tough. You can see in the 60-second switch clock, I'm not able to wiggle my way out of a lot of these scenarios here, so good game. Bastiodon in the lead. Of course, 30-second clock goes away, and then everyone starts running their lovely Bastiodons again. Luckily, I do see this in the lead. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball here. Now, if Jellicent runs Bubble, it's a slightly better matchup for Jellicent because you're at least hitting for super effective the whole time. But they bring out their Charm Alolan Ninetales, and this is not great for me. I'm going to store a Shadow Ball and then switch into my own Alolan Ninetales because my Alolan Ninetales is walled by their Bastiodon. Now here's the problem. I'm thinking that there's a Medicham in the back. Because first of all, this opponent's team doesn't make that much sense. They're double weak to G-Fisk in the lead. So I'm really expecting a fighter in the back. They bring out the Bastiodon. I'm able to get my Vigoroth onto this thing. And I really want to be able to farm this all the way down. But they are able to get to a last second Stone Edge, which feels terrible. But I have a lot of energy. They probably bring out the Ninetales to burn some of my energy. They do, so I'm going to throw this Body Slam immediately. What is in the back? A Charm goes through, but luckily this Body Slam damage will register before the Charm does. It's a Shadow Vic. It's a Shadow Vic. Bastiodon, and then a Charmer, and then Shadow Vic. I'm barely not able to take that game. Good game to my opponent there. Alright, hard countered in the lead. Gonna bring my Vigoroth out. Vigoroth, and then they bring out the Alolan Marowak. This is not technically a super hard counter to Vigoroth, and so if I can flip swap here, that's really good. So I'm going to land the Bulldoze here and just let this go through. The problem is that my opponent most likely knows my team. And the reason I say this is because look at what they do here. They no shield and they let me have switch because they want farm with their Venusaur. And so now my Alolan Ninetales has to take out 2 Pokemon. So I have to bring in my Jellicent here as a pure sacrifice, absorb this Frenzy Plant, and then I can make a move into my Alolan Ninetales. Because my Jellicent is just completely dead weight here. It's terrible against Umbreon, not good against Venusaur either. Have to shield up these Frenzy Plants. Now our switch clocks are going to be pretty wildly out of sync. Out comes the Umbreon. I need to be able to land a Dazzling Gleam on this. So I go straight for it and see what they want to do. They shield it! So many scenarios here where if I was able to successfully bait, like they just baited me with Foul Play there, which is terrible. I'm going to throw this Dazzling Gleam. It does not take them out. And this was actually desync CMP. I should have tried to catch on my Jellicent there, but really nice play by my opponent. All right, another hard counter in the lead. This was a very, very tough set. So my opponent brings out Pelipper, which is a good response to Vigoroth, but I have an energy advantage, so I'm going to try to flip swap here. I will shield 1 move here. And then I'm at back-to-back Body Slams, so I'm wondering if they're going to let me win switch here. I'm able to get to another Body Slam. They let me win switch, which is good for me. But they come in with Venusaur and farm. This is not good for me. Because now they have energy to get a shield on my Ninetales. Very unfortunate. Out comes G-Fisk. I'm down a shield. So many people are playing this really smartly, where they're letting me win switch to intentionally set up their Venusaur for a farm down situation, and then that makes it really, really tough for my Alolan Ninetales. But I land the Bubble Beam on this G-Fisk, but things are not looking good, because the switch clock is going to be up. They're not going to let me farm down their G-Fisk. They bring out Venusaur. I barely survive Sludge Bomb here, but I'm not going to have enough health to get to back-to-back Weather Balls here. I made it as close as I could, being hard countered in the lead, and then not the best swap for me, but good game. All right, Unova, Stunfisk in the lead. So as you can see, like right here, granted I did run into some pretty unfavorable team comps in this first set in the 60-second switch clock. In the next set, you'll see I do pick up some more wins. I think in this set I go 1-4, and then the next set I go 4-1. So this team still has play in the 60-second clock, but not nearly as much play. You're not able to wiggle yourself out of situations nearly as easily. Vigoroth against Skarmory, I actually really like this matchup a lot if you're careful with your fast move timing, because you can rip off these Body Slams so fast. And so my Vigoroth takes out the Skarmory there. Good for me. Out comes the Stunfisk to farm me down once again, but that's okay. I'm going to rip off this Body Slam. And now I can get my Ninetales locked onto this thing. It's definitely going to be able to rip off a lot of damage, but I would love to be able to farm this down. That's my goal here. I'm going to shield this up, and they bait on this one. What a nice play. I don't know what they have in the back, but I kind of want to preserve some health here. So I'm going to commit my second shield. And it's an Umbreon in the back. Thank goodness I preserved this Ninetales. All right, we're going to go for a bait here. I finally get a bait to be successful. So now all I got to do is land this Dazzling Gleam. We are not out of the woods yet, though, because this Dazzling Gleam does not KO. And I switch into my Jellicent here, and I fail the catch. Not able to get to the Bubble Beam. I'm able to get to this Weather Ball. Is this enough to take out the Umbreon? Barely enough. And we CMP tie on this Weather Ball here, or they were on their 5 cycle. But either way, really, really close game. And able to pick up a win there. All right. Jellicent into Mew. This is a totally fine lead. We're both hitting each other for super effective damage. However, the Mew essentially has to go for the Wild Charge nuke and debuff themselves. So I farm up a lot, and then I'm going to go for a bait here and see what my opponent wants to do. I do get a shield. That's really good for me. But these Wild Charges are still threatening, even with the debuff. So I'll shield that first one. I'm even comfortable shielding both of these moves here and continuously over farming. There's the Wild Charge again. Because now I can just go straight Bubble Beam and take out the Mew and win the lead and have energy stored. They bring out Skarmory. That's fine for me. I'm just going to go straight Shadow Ball here. And if they get greedy, I know I can get to another Shadow Ball. So I'm able to get to another one. And they let the Skarmory go. Wow, I was very surprised. So I know that Alolan Ninetales is my win con here, so I'm just bringing in Vigoroth to do as much chip damage as possible to try to get them into Weather Ball range. They're in Weather Ball range now. If this is Hurricane, I know that I barely survive and I'm receiving the energy for Body Slam, so I under tap. I get this move off, they have to shield. I can now make a move into my Ninetales and get to this Weather Ball pretty comfortably and take out this Pelipper here. Good game. Mew, Pelipper, Skarmory. Pretty interesting team. Oh my gosh. Sunny Cherim in the lead. So it takes them a while to get to Solar Beam. Let's see. Solar Beam is 80 energy, right? And Bullet Seed generates 13 energy per Bullet Seed. So it takes them 6 to get to Solar Beam. 6 times 13 or 7. It takes them 7, right? 7 Bullet Seeds to get to the Solar Beam on the first one. I'm a little rusty on my Cherim counts here. They switch into a Azumarill to catch this Shadow Ball. Nice play. The problem is that Cherim is actually going to be an issue for my Ninetales as well, because it has Fire Weather Ball. So I land that Shadow Ball, and I'm going to get to this Bubble Beam as well, but it's not going to be enough to knock them out. They were doing this on purpose because they want to farm me with their Cherim again. I knew what they were trying to do here, so I switch into my Ninetales to get a jump start on energy. I know they don't have back-to-back Weather Balls stored. So out comes the Cherim. I get 1 Powder Snow through. I'm 1 Powder Snow away from a Weather Ball. And I get to it. That's really good for me. Thank goodness. Now we will see what is in the back. It's a Skarmory. Totally fine for me. I'm being careful with my timing here to not let a free Air Slash through. Gonna get that Weather Ball off and then get another Weather Ball off. And it looks like they're trying to farm me all the way down, so I'm gonna get the heck out of here and just put on some pressure with Vigoroth. I survive a Brave Bird. And I survive 2 Sky Attacks, no problem. And I'll be able to get to this Body Slam and take out the Skarmory. Good game. I think we have one more game in this video, folks. If you have stayed for the entire video, thank you very much. I hope you like these longer videos. Another Mew in the lead. Now that people are getting their shiny Mews, Mew is a very common lead. I'm totally fine with this matchup with the Jellicent. Now they're throwing right away. I will shield this. They probably Wild Charge and leave, and that's what they do. They switch into Lickitung. Okay, that's fine by me. They catch a Bubble Beam. Totally okay. gonna bring out Vigoroth. Because I debuffed this thing, I can really heavily farm here. Now, I don't think I can technically farm this all the way down. I will have to throw some moves. But my Vigoroth is going to be able to unleash a lot of damage on whatever comes in. If they bring out the Mew, the body slams will really add up and they cannot farm me down. They have to throw a move. I will now farm this Lickitung all the way down. Mew cannot farm me. Out comes Mew. I have almost 3 body slams here. There's the first one. Gonna throw the second one, and I'm 2 counters away from another body slam. They force a CMP here. Really nice play by my opponent. I will let this go at this point. They are in Bubble Beam range. Now, I actually bring out my Ninetales here for a pretty aggressive farm down. I'm going straight. Oh, I'm actually going for the bait here. Going for the bait, because if I can land a Dazzling Gleam, it's amazing. I get the shield, and then here's the Gleam. Let's go. Gonna one-shot the Obstagoon, and then that puts me in a very favorable scenario. So, good game there. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content, and I will catch you all in the next video.